Hey everyone, good morning or good afternoon, depending on where you are located. Really excited to get into the markets today. There were a lot of setups during the last 24 hours. We traded quite a few of them. Thank you for tuning in. Also, wanted to throw it out there that anything that we do discuss here today is not financial advice, it's purely for educational and fun purposes. Thank you for tuning in. Bits, how are you doing today? Lots of setups, my friend.
Yeah, there's plenty to play. There's plenty to play. So it depends if you're willing to sit there and play it.
Yeah,
But
yeah, no,
it is
absolutely.
some low time frame action for sure. Plenty of
Yeah,
it.
absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely dive into some of these setups, some of the trades that we took. There were some trades that were also shared in the group. I took quite a few trades. It's funny. I don't usually take more than one trade a day, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's been crazy since last 24 hours.
Yeah.
Really clear setups too. So yeah, excited to dive in. Bits, you want to go ahead and share your screen,
Yeah, I can. Yeah.
and I will add um, my chart as well.
Pull it up here.
Carl is here. GM Carl.
What's up, Carl?
Okay,
Cool.
here we go.
I'll throw that up.
Yeah.
Um yeah, look, let's start with BTC, and I'll show you guys kind of what I've been talking about and watching over the last like day or so. And look, I'll zoom out a little bit first, I guess. So, I mean, BTC for the most part is still in this same range, still right below previous year low. So this is 74 and a half, but holding at the moment, I'd say holding about 65 pretty well. You've had a couple deviations below 65, but overall, like 65 seems to be kind of like a floor here for the moment. So overall, I mean, you can kind of say there's really not a lot happening. We're kind of just sideways. Now, inside of this, we did start to develop this channel here, this descending channel. You can see now that there's multiple touches to the bottom of this channel. We've got two nice big touches to the top side of this channel. You can see it on the 1 hour as well, nice and clean. You're able to align some touches, but 4 hour kind of simplifies it, removes some of the noise. Um, but basically, what we're looking for here at this point is is this low going to hold? Is this low going to hold? Bitcoin went above the midline of the channel. Can it chop around it and ultimately defend it a little bit and then attempt to go to the top of the channel? That's kind of what I'm watching for here. So can this essentially defend that and then it work its way up somewhere up here? And then ultimately, if it fails up there, I mean that's pretty much in line with what we've seen the last two times. Nothing would really be surprising if that happened. And then maybe then we get that move to the bottom of the channel, which ultimately sweeps these lows from late February and potentially even opens up the move towards the low that was set back here right at the beginning of last month. Um, so that's kind of what I'm watching here. You can zoom in and low time frame. Like you can go down to 15-minute and then try and extract some of the structure that's happening here. You did have monthly open, which currently it seems like it's falling back. It's getting acceptance back below this monthly open here, which is right at about 66.8.9. Excuse me. Let me get a drink. Oh, there we go. I was deficient on caffeine. There we go. So um yeah, it looks like we're getting some acceptance back below this monthly open. We do have this 50% of the previous US session that's coming up here at about 66 and a half. And you do have the weekly open down here at about 66 even. So I'm just watching this range. I threw a simple fib on it. So down here, this is about the 50% of this entire move, right? So if you were to measure from this low to this high, 50% of that move is about there, and then you've got what we all kind of refer to as like the golden pocket. essentially a little bit further down, aligning with that weekly open for BTC. So those are kind of the levels I'm watching here. We did get a long position yesterday after this beautiful green candle here on that sell-off. If you notice, there was substantial volume that came in. I mean, if you were doing just basic volume analysis, this candle here, right, that volume here relative to pretty much the average of all previous volume leading up to that move was quite substantial. So that was the reason that I felt confident enough to jump into a long position yesterday. But we did hedge short up here near the high. I believe I'm probably here at about this 50% of UK as my average entry, and I'm holding that. And so far, that hedge is doing what it's supposed to do. So we're watching this move down. I want to see if that sticks. In my opinion, there's still an opportunity there for BTC. Really don't want to see it get too close to this current low. There's also some confluence in the way that same move played out on the stablecoin dominance chart. This really is what kind of alerted me to go look at BTC and then to put this same channel on BTC, right? So I was looking at this on a 4-hour and I started to notice, ooh, this move yesterday, that dump spiked perfectly up to the top of this channel, right? Exactly to it. So now you've got multiple touches up here on the top of that trend line. You've got two big touches down here on the bottom of this. So, I was watching it and I still am, that if this were to come down, I'm kind of looking for some support somewhere along the bottom of this channel. So if this right here is just some kind of fake out and then ultimately it ends up dropping back down below, like I will be looking for it to possibly bounce somewhere around here, which would mean that we'd start to see crypto turn around somewhere there and continue heading to the downside if this were to happen, right? So, and if this has confluence with the way BTC is moving, that would align with a BTC move to somewhere up here, the upper end of this channel as well. So if this at some point starts heading back up, heads up there, it'd be a rejection up there, which is basically what we were talking about. Be right in line with the last couple times. So would just be following this general established trend right now, right? Which is move up, move to the bottom, right? Move up, move to the bottom, move up, move to the bottom of the channel. So it'd be a continuation of this if we got something like that. So if it's not going all the way to the top of the channel and it's not going to the bottom here on USDT, let's say it's just reclaiming this, then there is a possibility that what we're actually seeing here is that was just a deviation above this high, and then this is going to roll over and take out that low. So just watching that, observing it for today. We'll see if that ends up playing out. But this is the beauty of hedging. If the long sticks, this position is protected and it's able to go. If the short is what plays out, that position will get stopped out. The short will be in profit, canceling out any kind of potential loss or fees that might have come up from that. And it just protects, minimizes risk. Look, at a lot of the alts were kind of looking the same way. They had nice pushes up. Some of these, you can make an argument that on a 4-hour, you did get a nice little higher high here so far. We'll see if we get a higher low, right? So you're getting this move down here, and inside of that move, you've got another trend as well, which is this one, right? So you're getting inside of this leg, you had your high, you had a low, you had a lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, and then now you have a higher high inside of, again, but it's just an internal move inside of this leg of the downtrend. But I am watching for the potential that this is coming down and then trying to put in a higher low somewhere in here. Maybe there's one more or something like that, and then that's the one that rolls it over to go lower, because this is a very nice gap here in the volume profile. So I'm kind of watching anywhere around here. I think makes a lot of sense. So we'll see what happens around there. ETH was one that I was not long on ETH, but I did get a short position on Ethereum this morning. So Solana, I did have the long from down here on Sol, did also hedge short up here as well. Still comfy in the long, still very, very much in profit, plenty of room to go there. So not really feeling any kind of pressure on Sol. Cardano as well is another one that I'm also hedging here to the short side. But other than that, just watching some of these alts. Had a couple of these that I've been just scalping. There was one, shoot, I can't remember the name. Oh, it's this one, Cent, yesterday. I was playing this one yesterday on the lower time frames. Did manage to catch a nice little short here, got out, did not play long here, have not played short again. But again, this one was one that is like, wow, look, if it completely rolls over, if it does what a lot of them do, which is they give back the entire pump, comes all the way down here. Otherwise, there's a little like 1-to-1 roughly that played out here. So I did play in that, and just continuing to watch a lot of these other alts to see if they're going to potentially try and get a move higher. This is that quarterly play. So like on ASTR, for example, or even on Ondo, these are those that just have that 3-month setup that I am watching. Nothing is confirmed. We still have a day and 6 hours left before the close of the month and the close of the quarter. But if in a day and 6 hour this closes within the previous quarterly range, kind of as I've been sharing with you guys, then I do start to look to some of these levels to the upside, right? Like for example, the top of the current quarter. I think there'd be a potential for it to come up at least there and then roll over if it's going to roll over, and if leave a runner to see if it gets up to the top of the previous quarter. But yeah, so far this could be reversing. This is starting to kind of round off a little bit. I think there'll be a potential to come up here a little bit and see if it can get to the top here. So that's kind of where I'm just laying out some of these potential trades and just doing some math on which ones that have the most favorable risk to reward structure and which ones are the ones that I want to take, because there's a bunch of them that are setting up. All of these that are in the green so far are looking like they're going to be good to go, and the ones that are in the yellow have a possibility of confirming. So it's a lot of alts. But again, BTC will have to behave and it'll have to play ball. Otherwise, it won't happen. But yeah, that's essentially what I've got. I think I'll hand it off there. We're about almost 20 minutes in, and then if you need to come back to me, you can come back to me for whatever.
Thank you, Bits. Great analysis. I'm going to share my screen as well, and then I'm going to bring up Nats. I want to quickly talk about some of the setups that we actually caught. So give me 1 second. Let me see if I could. All right, here we go. All right. Let me fix this one. All right. So we had multiple trades yesterday that I shared in the group. The first one was a short position. It was a breakout setup. We got in right here, 66K. I did share it in the group what the setup was going to be. We had a stop loss at 67, and then a take profit at 65K. And look at what actually happened, right? When it was triggered, it was a very quick setup. We had this move to the downside, and so literally in 2 candles, your take profit was hit. It was actually right here, 66K. And so you had this move to the downside that triggered our. Oh, there we go. Okay, was it not on there, Bits?
No, I just swapped you out. I just noticed you weren't up. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry about that. I guess I did half of the work. So we got in right here at 66K, right here, right? This was our entry. So the stop loss was 67K, take profit was 65. So a quick 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. This was the move to the downside. We caught this one, and within 2 candles, it actually it hit that, right? And so there were 2 trades that I sent in the group. One was, if we were to get a short entry, this is where it would be. And then our long entry was right here. And so, or actually it was right here. Yep, right here. And so we had a long entry here. So I said, whichever way it goes, we need to do that. And then also with these breakout setups, you have to be cautious about a lot of different things, right? Of course, it's going to give you 1-to-1 setup in most cases. In some cases, you just have to be cautious. You have to be cautious about the session changeover, right? Because a lot of times during session changeover, you may get a reversal. So you have to be ready for that. The second thing you need to be ready for is any kind of major levels coming up, any major EMAs coming up. So you need to be watching for those levels. Okay. And so we got this one. This was basically, this is why it's also important to set your take profit levels, right? Because if you don't, then you're going to be in trouble. Like, what happened yesterday. It did great for us. But if you did not have your take profit, I mean, look at it. It really hit that and then it reversed very quickly. So which is why it's important to set your stop losses and also your take profit levels. So that was a move. I did get into uh, a foot soldier when this was happening, right, for the long. So I did catch some of this move, but I was mainly interested in the breakout just because I've seen how beautifully they work, especially when markets are choppy. And so the next move, really, I could have even gone here. This was valid. I waited until right here. I wasn't really near a computer, so I got a little bit of a late entry, but I did catch this move, and then I exited around somewhere around here when it started to do this right at changeover, right? And I'm like, all right, New York session is going to take all of our profits back, so I might as well just take profit, take whatever the market has given me so far. I'm happy with it. I was hoping it would hit this, right? This was our the original take profit, but it did not hit that level, and so I was out. I also took a short position right here, um, because of the reason why I took this one is because this was like almost like a triple top, a multi-session triple top, right? So you had the first leg in Asia, second leg in Europe session, third leg in the US session. And then when it closed under here, this is where I actually got in on this candle retracement above. So it was 67.7 was the entry, right? So it was pretty perfect. The other trade that I hope, if you guys are taking some of these breakout setups with me, guess what? Right here. I did not share it in the group. I was just not super confident with this one. And the reason why is because it was too close to these EMAs, right? And it did trigger on the first move, right? Your stop loss would be usually with these kind of setups, you want to see where the wicks are, right? And then you want to adjust your stop loss accordingly. So stop loss would probably be right above this candle because this was almost like a trap candle on both sides. So I would put my stop loss here or here. This is okay as well. And then look, it would trigger and then go up and then roll over. Of course, I was already in a short trade, so I did not care about this one, but it did play out pretty good, right? And you could have taken it in the second time when it came back, right? Because at this time it's already exhausted. Okay, it's coming back down. It's probably gonna now. This time it's gonna probably crash because it also created a new a lower high, right here. So lots of setups, as you can see. 4 setups actually. There was also another setup. I'm trying to remember what it was, but we caught another one. It was this one. Yeah, this one. So this was another long where that I got into. Also, remember I did say that in the group, you have to be mindful of swing highs and swing lows so that you could adjust stop losses accordingly. But basically, if you entered, right here, then your stop loss would go here or here, and then it gave us this move. So I think most of us caught this move as well. So quite a few beautiful breakout setups. I am definitely watching right now. To me, again, Bitcoin is still in the range, but big congratulations if you picked some of these breakout trades. I'm going to be sharing them more and more, so that you guys could actually look at them, see how it is, and maybe at some point we could also, Bates, myself, and Nat can also do like a Telegram special, just a tutorial on how to trade some of the strategies. I know it's been a while. We used to do a lot of those. So most of you already know how we trade, how our strategies work. I haven't gone over the breakout trades here. So I could go over them. You just have to be very cautious with breakout setups, and take your profits very aggressively. It doesn't matter if it's 1-to-1. I mean, if it gives you 70% return and you see it's looking a little bit shady, a little bit trappy, you get the heck out, right? That's most important. And so those were a few setups that I wanted to talk about. Definitely let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I can cover that as well. But overall, nothing has changed for me. We had this level here, right? of the top, and then this level. This was identified, like I said, first week of February, March 30th today. Still in this range, and I did say we are going to be ranging between these two levels for a long time, and we are seeing that. And so right now we have this move here. It's looking a little bit trappy, right? So I'm definitely watching to see how the daily candle closes, because that is going to determine a lot of things. If it closes red, which it could, right? This was our weekly open. If it does close red, then the move would be maybe a little bit of the upside and then crash. Or if it holds and we close green significantly higher than where we are right now, then of course we are looking to maybe take another move to the upside, maybe even go as high as 80K, right? We don't know. But this is a level that we should be watching, is the monthly. As you can see now, I have a level that I actually drew up here. Why? Because I'll be watching the monthly candle close as well. I want to see if we get a green candle this time. We got to see that. So I'm definitely watching for that one. Weekly as well. Like I said, this is pretty bad. And remember yesterday when I was on Wolf Space, I did say that this was the top of the candle, right? You had these two levels. You had this level, 67.4, which is basically just you filling up the gap, and there was a retracement actually once the price hit this level. And then the second level I was watching was this one, 67.859, and then the third level that I was watching was this one, 68.286. So those were the levels that I was watching for a possible short, and it did give me that short in between, right? This level and this level. So very happy with this one, still holding it. We'll see how it plays out, how the candles close over the next few minutes. I think it's going to probably retest this one. Why? Because if you could see, there was a big significant move above this, but it did not really do a retest on a smaller time frame. So a lot of times, not always, but a lot of times the price will come back to it. And so I'm watching to see if it does do that. But we are at a pretty significant level right now. Like I would be looking for long opportunities if I was bullish, right? But longs, you have to be cautious. As you can see also, yesterday's trades, today's trade, 1-to-1 hits very quickly on the shorts and very fast. With long, we had to wait a very long time, and it still didn't really hit. Like it was 100 points away from our take profit, right? Our take profit was here, and it basically came super close to it. And then of course you had the US New York session, but New York just causes bloodbath. It's just funny. And so you have to get out when you see New York opening, no matter what side you're on. Take your profits. That's how I play it during your session. And then of course you could trade it in the opposite direction if there's a very good setup, which this one was, right? You had the Asia, the Europe, the US, very, very clear. If this was not your cup of tea, this setup was, risky to you, then, which it was, right? Because if you guys remember, I always say these things, okay, did not retest this EMA. I look for ways. I like to debate myself whenever I'm entering a trade, right? I tell myself why I shouldn't get into it. And so this would have been like, okay, this is not really retesting this, but I'm comfortable because it is 3 levels. You had a really nice stop hunt to the upside right at the beginning, right? I was actually like, oh, hopefully it hits our take profit, but unfortunately it did not. And also, I mean, if you look at it this way, right, if your entry was here, right here, your stop loss would be here. So technically, if you did not use this one as your stop loss, it hit your stop loss based on this swing. So that's another thing to remember, because whatever the most recent swing is, you're going to be taking that into consideration. When I sent in the call, I believe we didn't have this swing or this swing, if I'm not mistaken. So I was either using this one as the stop loss or this one as a stop loss. So based on this swing, it actually did hit your 1-to-1 once it triggered. So those are some things to remember, right? So it really did hit that 1-to-1, depending on which swing you were using as your stop loss, because that's how it works. But yeah, those were some setups. I'm just watching to see if we bottom out here, or are we going to crash under this level here? I think we probably at least catch a short-term bottom right here, but it's just markets, you don't know what's going to happen. Of course, this move to the upside was because of Trump's tweets and him talking about the discussions that he's having with the Iranians, which Iranians are saying, no, we are not negotiating. We don't know who you're talking with. And so whatever it was, like, it was short-lived, as you can see. So fundamentals still not so great. But yeah, you'll have to just line up your technicals with your fundamentals. So those are some of the trades that I wanted to talk about. Smart or short money. Yes, Carl. Short money is really, really fast. As you can see, this one, it was 2 candles and boom. And then this one, gosh, took the whole night. And then again, like, this one wasn't too bad either, right? One session, it's hitting your take profit. So that was very quick. But yeah, that's all I have for today. So I'm watching to see, still in the short, watching, and it's already hit my one to one as well, more than 1-to-1, right? Because remember, I got in right here with a very tiny stop loss, which was like right here. So I am good to go with my position here. So yeah, it's looking great so far. I did not take another one here because already I was here, so I had a better entry and a better stop loss. So but yeah, if those trades that we talked about initially in the Telegram, that the ones that I taught you early on, the market maker method, still valid, still giving you beautiful setups. Just have to be mindful of them and take profits aggressively as you go. So yeah, we'll see how the market closes today. For this move, really catching this entire move to the downside makes me super happy right now. So yeah, that's all I have. Nat, you want to bring up your
Yeah, can you guys hear me all right?
chart?
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay?
Still very choppy, but let's
Okay.
try and see.
All right, so I kind of just wanted to touch on the liquidity on BTC. I think you guys did a really good job breaking down the chart, and we're all looking at similar things. But what caught my attention here is on the spot side, there was almost like $10 million in spots sitting like about around like 55K. And all of these, everything you're seeing here on the screen, they're all like multi-million dollars of orders just stacked above each other, right? So there's 2 million here, and then it just stacks completely all the way down. So the reason why I'm showing this is that this just really does let me know that the bottom is not in. There are buyers that are interested in way lower prices, right? All the way down to into the 30s. Definitely a level that we've all been looking at, especially myself, and I believe you mentioned it as well, Lady Trader, when you mentioned it like really earlier on when you called the top. And you were looking at 35K. There are orders like literally sitting there as of right now, right? And even if we zoom out a little bit, there is a big section right here at 33, at 33.9, all the way up to the top. I'm sorry, baby. My baby is crying. Can you come back to me? I'm so sorry, guys.
No, no worries. I wonder if the baby's mad at all those liquidations that are below. You know, I don't know.
I think so.
It's like, no, I don't want to go down anymore.
So that
No,
happens.
look, that's it's part of life. It's part of working from home. It happens. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. So, Bits, anything else that that you want to bring up while we wait for that?
I mean, yeah, I can jump back into this. I mean, you know, I'm kind of just I'm watching BTC here because I want to see what ends up happening here. But look, I mean, if we're going to talk about potential downside, I mean, not a lot has really changed. We're still aware of the levels to the downside. Here, let me clean this up a little bit. Actually, I'm just going to remove all of that. I'm going to go ahead and remove the gentleman's suite just for simplicity. Look, we're coming up to monthly close, and you know, if we look at the way this candle looks right now, it essentially went and just swept most of this previous month candle. So it's you know, I'd say it's pretty safe to say that I think probabilities probably suggesting that it's going to come in and want to sweep this low at some point. So even if we get a little bit of a pump on the new month, you know, this low is essentially, it's like a magnet. It's at some point going to pull it down under there. So, or at least very close to it. But Yeah, to me, I mean, and here's the crazy part is we'll now be on what'll this be, the sixth red monthly candle for BTC in a row if we get a red close, right? So
Yep.
um yeah, I mean, and we're right at that monthly open right now. So this could close, slightly green, or it can close like this red. But ultimately it's not really a great looking candle there. And if we look at the quarterly trend is still very much strong into the downside. These are still nice, uh, candles with big directional bodies. Although I will say I'm not really seeing what I would say is like acceleration here. Like these bodies are pretty much the same size or pretty close to the same size. These quarterly candles. Um,
Hmm.
when there's big acceleration, you do sometimes see that they'll go from like either a reduction in size to an expansion. So here at some point, I think we'll get a different candle, whether it's like a smaller quarter or a big expansive quarter. But these are pretty much about the same size, which is interesting. And this is also going to be the first time in a day and 6 hours where we're flipping this trend. I mean, if you look at this was kind of interesting here. Shoot. Hold on here. I forgot that if I start drawing, it'll pull it back up. But if you look here, right from off of the lows of this last bear market, we've had 2 green quarters, 1 red quarter, 2 green quarters, 1 red quarter, 2 green quarters, 1 red quarter, 2 green quarters. We're now going to have 2 red quarters, right? So something is definitely pivoted here. Something's definitely shifted. The only time we've really seen multiple red quarters on BTC has been when you've been in that confirmed bear market, right? Like you saw the same thing here. You saw here at this like 2019 mid-year pump. You've got consecutive red quarters, back here as well. So pretty standard stuff. But for all the bear market deniers, I mean, this is screaming at you that it's no longer the same 2 up, 1 down that we've been seeing. So something has definitely changed. But yeah, this zone we're coming up to here, it is a big zone. I would really say this entire area here, lady traders. So kind of like right where we're hanging out, which is 50, 58, something like that, through about like 63, 64. It's a big pivot area. You had essentially the top of 2021 on this quarterly chart. Those quarterly closes were right at 58,740 back in January of 2021. So you had that close there. You had this March 2024 top that we kind of went sideways for a little while, and then you flip that to support there. So we're coming back up into that little pocket here. Will be interesting to see if either we're going to get, like I was saying earlier, like a small body quarterly candle here that tries to reverse for a little bit and then just dunks on it, absolutely just nukes here, right? Like maybe it does something like that and then you get the big nuke. Or we're about to have that big expansive nuke that just blows through this level here to show us that it's not going to be support. And then at some point, it'll probably come back up, back test it, and then you'll put in whatever that low is for this cycle. And if some of the stuff we've been looking at, like even Lady Trader and I have talked about, if this is an irregular type of cycle, then this could be moving into some numbers that I think a lot of people are going to maybe freak out about, right? So
Yep.
but we'll see.
We're
It's
not.
a little early. This will
Yes.
be a big area to watch. I think this will kind of signal to us how weak the market truly is, because if we get something like this, Lady Trader, where we get a big move away from this zone here that should be support, by all means, it should be some kind of support. But if we fall below this and then we get a big move back up and it's a bearish retest, man, you better hold on, because the next liquidity draw is below these down here. Like the next big significant one is below these bear market lows at that point. So yeah, that'll be yeah. This would be scary if you get something like that where we get another quarter down followed by like a bearish retest quarter, and then we start taking that low out there. Oof, like that's gonna send. Yeah, that's gonna absolutely send.
Yeah,
But
no, absolutely.
yeah. Nat, I don't know if you're in a better place
Yeah,
now. Is the baby relaxed?
I
Did you want me to hand it
am.
back to you? All right, cool. Yeah, let me take myself
Yes,
down,
yes.
then I'll hand it
I
back to you.
apologize, guys.
No, you're
My
Oh, no
good.
worries
baby,
at all.
he's teething. All right.
Yeah.
So from the top, guys. This what caught my attention, and I know I mentioned 55K, but it's actually at 59K.
Yeah.
There's a big order. I don't know if you guys see it on the screen. It's 9.04 million sitting right at 60,000. What's very interesting is on the spot side, while this is, and look, there's 14 million, 9 million, and 9.27. So on the spot side, this is a very, very big deal, right?
Yeah.
Even though all the others, they're in the millions, right? So like I said, two things. This is telling me two things, right? One, buyers are interested in lower prices, right? And two, that 60K area, 59K area, that's going to be a key area, something for us to keep an eye on, right? And I think we're all looking at it in the chart. We can see it in the chart, and as we've seen here, it did wick below. So it would be very interesting to see how it all plays out once we start getting to these levels. Because I believe I mentioned it earlier today on the space. I don't believe that the bottom is in. There is nowhere they're going to leave this big of an order, these orders right here, just sitting there and not pick them up, right? All the way down to in the 30s. And this is why I was giving you some kudos, Lady Trader, because you called the top earlier on, and this is where I believe your initial target was when you initially mentioned it. And look at how the orders are just stacking up there, right? I
Hmm.
think that's very interesting, right? Interesting, right?
Lady
Granted,
Trader called this. So not only did she call the top months before it would happen, she said roughly when it would happen. Then she called
yes,
it again, like on the day of or on the week of. She basically said, "Yep, I think that's it. I'm out." And then she also, before all of that, was also kind of telling us roughly where to be looking for a pullback. So, yeah, pretty cool to see
yeah,
it all
which is
play out.
it's yeah, which is
Yeah.
insane because there's interest in the areas that she did mention to us many months ago, right? Granted, there is some liquidity that's building up at the top, all the way up. What is this now? This is, I believe we covered this as well before. This is above like 103. And this area right here is getting some traction, over a million orders here and here. Granted, on the perp side, it is a lot heavier, right? So if we were to bring in the perps on the perp side, the top side liquidity is a little heavier, especially this area right here. This is what we covered. See, 34 million in orders. Let's zoom in. It got some of these. This is what the area that I was looking at. 52 million at 68,200, and we kind of got a little close to it. We got some of it there, right? And there's a few buildup at the top, but even here, even on the perp side, we're seeing some they're slightly small, but there's still big orders, significant orders in the 50 ranges, right? So this is 33 million here. So there's interest in lower prices. And I think Dom mentioned it as well when we were talking about, and I think Kate asked him a question, it was like, what would need to happen in order for, buyers to step in? And we're seeing it across the board, right? Lower prices. And I think we're seeing it on the perp side and on the spot side. Granted, I do see a scenario, let's say for example, if we do go ahead and sweep the lows and maybe even revisit that wick from last night, I do think it's going to be short-lived. I'm going to bring up my chart here so that way you guys can see what I'm looking at, because I did go ahead and scalp a short uh, this morning after entering a long. Just give me 1 second. Let me just stop sharing the screen so that way I can bring up the chart that I'm looking at. And I think we're all looking at the same thing. It's just our point of view. It's a little bit different. But the weekly does not look the best, and I think we can all agree. And for me, it looks a little bit like a hanging fruit. And every time, and I this is something I picked up earlier on, like whenever we have these candles that look like like a hanging fruit, at some point it just gives in and it drops, right? So even if we do revisit, if we do revisit the candle from last night, which was at 64,900, if we break that, I can see us cleaning this up. But this right here is a big level. See how this is like untouched? Wicked above, continue to wick above, but this liquidity here is untouched, and these are where the big order is on the spot side, right? The 60K, it's 60K to 59.9. It would be very interested to see how it plays out, but the weekly does not look good at all. Even though the way the whole setup looks, it just looks like it's ready to come all the way down here. What is this? 49. Yeah. I wouldn't rule this out, right? So two things I'm looking at. On the 4 hour, let me just bring up my 4 hour chart. So on the 4 hour, what I am looking at, I needed to break above this. I needed to break above 67.45 in order for any kind of continuation higher, or else it just looks like it really wants to revisit the wick from yesterday, right? I mean, the sell is coming in a little heavy. It came in a little heavy last night, and usually, oftentimes, whenever we see this kind of wick on BTC, like this, it gets refilled, it gets retested, sorry. Granted, not right away, but at some point it does, right? Can it go up, and can we get a nice closing on the daily and then go up and get the some of that liquidity that's still left at 68.2 or 68.3? I wouldn't rule that out, right? We can just go ahead and retest this here. But even the daily, it's starting to look very interested. So look at this section right here. We kind of ranged and we broke down. We're ranging, and then if we break down again, it would coincide with us hitting that 60K, possibly maybe even the 40s. That would be, I wouldn't rule any of that out, but that would be that would be very interesting to see how that plays out. But as we saw with the liquidity, right? There are buyers interested in this area right here. Like you can even see here on the liquidity heat map indicator. You can even see the orders just right here. So I wouldn't rule out a scenario in which it just revisits this week before it continues higher, right? Or maybe either the second thing I'm looking at as well, we get a nice daily close, and then we get to 68.2 and revisit, get all of the liquidity, and then just completely nuke. I think overall, I think BTC is at a danger zone, on a danger zone, right? We kind of need to break above this structure, all of this structure right here, in order for us to solidify higher and get the liquidity at 80K, get to the liquidity at 93, get to the liquidity at 103. As if we're The longer we stay in this range, the probability of us just grabbing the liquidity here and at 60K, 59.9 and below becomes greater, which for me, and I continue to say this, right? It makes BTC even more interested, right? Because I think, a- as we've seen, if the same thing were to play out over and over again, so like you see this pattern right here, similar setup that we're seeing right here, if we were similar pattern that we're seeing right here, if it was to play out, the next thing would be to nuke. And I don't know if you guys remember that on Market Monkey Terminal, we kind of went through the same thing. There was a similar pattern, but it was like in three different circles, right? The first circle, it grabbed some of the liquidity at the top, it nuked. Same circle, we ranged sideways, grabbed some of the liquidity at the top and nuked. Now same thing, ranging sideways. Now do we finish and grab what's the remaining of that liquidity? There's even more at 68.9 all the way to like 69K and then nuke. Overall, guys, I think, and this is just my opinion, overall, that liquidity at the bottom is going to get swept, whether it's from here or a little higher, maybe even over here. But this is going to get swept. There's no way BTC is going to continue to new all-time highs without sweeping the liquidities and getting the $14 million order that's at 60K and 59.99. The other thing, I wanted to touch on, I know that Bits and we were looking at Kane, and this is part of like the whole soft commodities. I think this is getting ready to make a beautiful move. Granted, it has to come down some. I'm looking to see if it can give us this, if it can retest these EMAs, maybe lower tens, possibly fill this gap right here into into the like the high nines, but it has this beautiful formation, and this is similar to the formation that we saw on Oxy before it broke out, right? So Oxy, take a look at the weekly. So Oxy is another chart I'll show after this. Yeah. So if it can pull back some, that would be great. I think it could make for a beautiful entry. But at some point, I think this thing wants higher. Like there's room for higher. 15, 20, 25. So we're talking about over 100% move if it breaks out, right? It is still within the tight range. I would love for it to pull back some, give us that high nines or lower tens, because the upside to this is going to be massive. We're talking about over 100% move. So this is one that I'm looking at closely, and I touched on this with bits a little bit. And the thing about sugar, it's not even not only pertaining to what's going on within the soft commodity sector, right? But also Coca-Cola there's talks about them going back to basics and adding the sugar cane to their product. And if they do, I think there's going to be a big demand for this. And I think we're going to it can possibly give us a nice move just based on the demand alone that's going to come with it, right? I mean, worst case scenario, it continues to reject on the monthly, and then we revisit this as support. But even then, I do see a bounce higher. So this is one I do have on my list. I just needed to confirm for buy for me. But it's almost ready. It's almost ready. So this is one I have my eye on. And then Oxy was one that I wanted to touch on as well, because this one gave us a beautiful breakout. This one had this, and it was stuck within this range for some time. I don't know if you guys remember, but this was one of those that I got in at many months ago, about 38, and then we just went lower. I believe we went to like 32, 33. Um, and then we were able to pocket on all of this entire move, this section right here, right? What I see happening is probably a pullback based on the weekly, and I'll tell you why I'm bringing this up for a second in a second. This has been printing along with all these, see the same formation, the same W formation, but this has been printing along with XLE and all the others. But I think at some point it is due for a pullback. Even if it gets to the 70 area, 71 area, I can see it pulling back. Right? Look at the weekly. It's signaling a pullback. Let's look at the dailies, bring up the daily here. Yep. It's signaling a pullback as well. Can it break out and go higher? Absolutely. But it's signaling a pullback. And if we look at Brent oil as well, right? This is one that we touched on last week. The daily looks like it can go higher, but it's coming up against some key resistance, right? If we bring out the weekly, sorry, that's the monthly. If we bring out the weekly, you'll be able to see the pattern even more clearly as well, right? This is what we were talking about on the stream last Friday. It is trying to move up to range high, but it's heavy. It's heavy. So do we see a scenario in which we revisit this, or even this gap as Lady Trader was mentioning? I could possibly see that, right? That would coincide with some kind of news, some kind of something in the interim, before the next move higher. I say that to say this, right? A pullback in energy, a pullback in oil typically leads to a nice run in equities and sometimes BTC. So now two things, right? Does BTC sweep the lows before we see this pullback, right? So does BTC give us one more sweep of the lows before oil and energy pulls back? So that would coincide with 60K and then a revisit of mid 60s to 70s. And if we do, I wouldn't rule out the possibility of some kind of a short squeeze if we do end up sweeping all that liquidity at the low, right? Which would put us, if we do get a short squeeze, that would put us at that 83 to 84 range area that I was looking at, that I was mentioning a few times before. That would be the breakdown of these EMAs right here. So 86. That would be the breakdown of this EMAs right here. 1 second. Let me see if I can just get it. Yeah. 84, 808, 804. That would put us there. But BTC has a lot of work still to do. So do we go ahead and sweep the liquidity, grab all of this that's here, and then do something like this and then continue lower? I wouldn't rule that out, right? I do think that there's some kind of a nice run incoming for BTC before we go ahead and completely nuke. And I think we saw that something similar to that last cycle in which we ran it the other way and then continued to nuke further. I wouldn't rule something like that out, right? That would coincide in a pullback in energy and oil because the chart is just signaling that there is some kind of pullback coming, which would benefit equity side and it would also benefit Bitcoin.
Love it.
That's all I
Love
that's
it,
all
Nat.
I yeah.
Oil trade, I hope that we get that. Really, really hope we get
Me
that.
too. Me too. But
I,
I think that would make for a beautiful entry because I think you and I were both super bullish long term. So imagine if we're able to get that gap fill at that 70s and and then
mhm.
continue to go higher. That would be beautiful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. BTC at a key level as well. And I did, by the way, I took my profits on my short position. I'm happy with the profits so far. So I'm out of that. I'm just basically watching because normally, like in under bullish scenarios, this would be a level that I'll be watching to enter long. And so it's probably going to go all the way to 65.9 most likely, but um, I'm okay with where I'm at. So we'll be looking for more trades this week. So that's basically where I am at. Bits, you want to cover anything before I have
Lady,
something that I want to wrap up the show with?
Lady Trader, real quick. So you do
No,
agree that
go for
it
it.
can like revisit that wick, right?
Which one? The
Wick from last night. Yeah, the 60,
Yeah, I mean
65,
it could, yeah,
64 9.
it could, yeah, it could go there definitely. I mean, depends on how the daily closes, right? I mean, it's bearish. I'm just
Yeah.
not. I hate holding on to these trades for a while because it's risky. We just haven't had any green candles at all, so I'm being extra cautious. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it's probably gonna just crash here, and it's
Yeah.
all about. And this is where I'm getting to, right? I'm gonna show you something that is gonna be very amazing to everybody who is joining in because I keep saying take profits. You know, it's important, especially on a lot of these breakout trades that we are getting. You should be very, very aggressively taking profits. So I'm going to share something here. This is important because this is going to show you why I can't emphasize enough on taking profits. So far, as you guys know, the breakout trades that I've shared, that strategy is very, very accurate, right? And so I'm going to share something now. This is something that it's not going to work out as it is. You are going to have to tweak it, your risk management and everything. But let's say that you have a 100K account. Okay. And you can change it to 10K, you can change it to 1 million, 2 million, 10 million, whatever your total account risk is going to be, right? Or your total account size is going to be. And then you're going to take 1% of that and you're going to start with your trading journey. And so you can plug it in just like this. So I'm going to go ahead and bring this up. Okay. Let me see. I'll have to remove Nat. And then I'm going to have to add myself here. Okay. So let's say you're starting with $1,000 balance. This is based on your risk management, right? So if you have a 100K account, you're risking 1%. If you have a $10,000 account, then you're risking a lot smaller than that, right? You're only risking $100. And then if you have $1 million account, then you can risk more. 2 million, you can risk more. So if you're starting with this and you have that one-to-one breakout trades, which are pretty incredible, you can compound very quickly. And then you can also compound. This is considering that all of them hit, right? And you can get really close to 100%. You just have to be super cautious, super picky about your trades, and also be extremely disciplined. And if you do that, like if your starting balance is $1,000, you're gonna, for the first trade you take, it's gonna be 2,000. I mean, within 11 weeks, let's say you're only taking one solid setup a week, and you're exiting it at 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. This is what you make. It's easier said than done, but it has a lot to do with your discipline than the strategy. Because as you can see, strategy is working. We already caught 3 trades over the weekend, right? And they all worked out beautifully. Actually, 4 if you also took the trade today, the breakout trade, right? So if you started with this one, you're already here. So this is just to kind of give you a perspective why I emphasize that you got to be taking profits. 1-to-1 is an okay risk to reward ratio. You don't need to always be catching the big moves, right? So I know that we all like to catch those huge moves. I like to also catch those moves, right? The big moves. But when I see 1-to-1 and I see like, okay, I'm comfortable with what the profits that I'm taking from the market, that's okay. So you could definitely work with AI tools, right? You have AI tools now, and you can kind of plug in some of these numbers and look at what your starting balance is going to be. Maybe you don't risk the whole starting balance, right? Maybe you take 50% of that risk, which is basically your 0.25% of your portfolio. Or you take your first trade here and then maybe you cut it down, something like that. So you could work with a lot of different strategies here. Or once you get here, then you're going to cut it down, or you could do 10,000 risk, whatever you need to do, right? So play with it, work with AI tools that are available to you, brainstorm certain ideas, and see where it gets you. I mean, this is incredible, right? If you have a strategy that works and you have the discipline to maintain it, and you're taking profits aggressively, because remember, if you're not going to set up your take profit levels, like what you saw yesterday, what happened, right? Our short trade hit take profit in 2 candles. 2 candles, it hit your take profit. And if you did not set it up, it reversed very quickly, and then it hit your stop loss, which is why it's important to take profit, right? Set those up, and then you forget about it. You see it, you set it, you forget about it. That's basically how it works. But you have to also make sure that those are really solid setups, not just taking breakout setups, just for the sake of taking a breakout trade. Breakout trades are actually usually very difficult to nail. Not everybody has a very high win rate with those. It depends on how you trade breakouts. Mine happens to be on the winning side, and it's incredible. As you can see, like all of the trades that I share in the group, you can see the win rates of those. So be mindful of this, right? So work on this, take this information. I don't, like, this is not advice. I'm not guaranteeing this result, right? I'm just telling you how I view the markets, why I'm so quick to take profit, why I'm okay with 1-to-1, right? The trade that I took today, it had such a small, because it was a setup. It was not a breakout setup, but it was a market maker method setup. My stop loss was very tiny for that one, and I still had, like, I practiced my risk management really well. So my risk was actually very small on that trade, and the reward was pretty much like what it would have been 1-to-1 if I took a breakout setup, right? So you could see that, like, it was a very small stop loss. So that's how you basically have to take it. And you have to be patient. You have to let the markets come to you and show you those setups. And they are there every week, right? They're available. And you have to be aggressive enough in your taking profit strategy, because you could multiply. I'm just stopping at 11 just to kind of show you what it looks like. Of course, there's going to be a lot of other things to consider, right? What platform you're using? Are they going to honor everything that, are you going to be using a decentralized platform instead? All of those things to remember. But taking profits aggressively is the way to make money in the markets. That's important. This is not a holder's market. It's a trader's market, especially during the bear market. You can hold it after you make a whole bunch of money, then you buy at the bottom at the end of the year, and then you hold it, right, for many years if you want to. But right now, if you're trading and you're starting out, just be mindful. It's all about discipline. It's all about taking profit, because if you're not taking profit, you're not going to get anywhere. So hope this makes sense. This is something that I wanted to bring up.
I absolutely love that, Lady Trader. That's the art of compounding. You can't go wrong with compounding, right? We do it on the equity side in the
Mm-hmm.
stock market too. It you can do a lot. You can make a lot of money if you know if you because the one thing that works is that you once you find that rhythm, once you find your edge, once you find your system that works well for you, you would see how quickly these gains compound across the board. I absolutely love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, people don't take that into consideration, right? It's like, oh, it's such a small move. It's just 1 to 1. It's like, dude, most people can't make 1 to 1. Most people can't.
Exactly.
Like, there are a lot of people who can't trade. If you're blessed enough to, have a strategy that works, then take your profits, and that's how it should be. So book your profits aggressively. There's nothing wrong with it. And so, yeah, and then there are always setups, right? There's no FOMO. Like, okay, this trade is good. I'm gonna take it because it's in line with what I'm thinking. Lots of things to consider. But yeah,
Yeah, I I
um,
I agree. No one ever went broke taking profit, right?
exactly. Yeah. All right, Bits. Anything that you want to add before we wrap up?
No, that's a great session.
Yeah, it was great. Looks like we continue to crash. I was hoping that we do find a bottom here, at least short term, but doesn't look like that's the case. The hourly
Yeah, I would.
closed. Yeah.
Yeah, I would love to see if we revisit that wick. That's one thing I'm looking at. I did enter a short earlier today at 67.8.
Okay.
Let's see.
Yours was a little bit better entry than mine. 67.7 was mine.
Oh, it's okay.
But
We're
I'm
right
out.
there. Yeah,
Right
I
there.
have
But I'm
runners.
out now. This is
Gotcha.
gonna run.
Yeah,
This probably is gonna run. It's looking like it.
yeah, yeah. It is.
This
Oof,
is
it
gonna
is selling off really hard. Yeah.
very, very hard sell off, yes. But I'm okay with where I took my profits. I'm good to go. Um,
If it
we'll
is
see if
accelerating though, after already this much of a move, it could mean that this is the last bit of the move. I'll be watching the volume,
yeah,
seeing
yeah.
if we
Volume.
get some volume coming in because it is leaving. It's leaving some levels to the upside. But yeah, it is starting to kind of roll over here. So I'm not super clear in terms of like how many. Like in terms of like trying to count how many like impulsive waves it's had to the downside. I really only see one so far, and it's kind of chopping. But
Mhm.
um, yeah,
But Bits,
but
isn't
it's
this like the level? Normally you would trade, like you'd be looking for long opportunities here, wouldn't you?
yeah, it's getting close. It's getting close. It's barely starting to get into level of interest. But yeah, we just hit the 50% of the U.S. Just right now. And then down at like 66.2 is where you start the golden pocket area, right? So
Mm-hmm.
66.2 to 66 flat is pretty much where I think would be really interesting to be watching. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
66 to 66.2. It's kind of coming up. So we shall see if it
What's
Mm-hmm.
moves
very
down there.
what's very interesting is that these are the similar prices we had like what 48 hours ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're really just stuck in a range here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then look, if you do get a bounce, it is going to be a higher low relative to yesterday's wick to the downside. So I would be, I'd be seeing if it can reclaim the monthly open. That's the big level I really want to watch. So can it get back above 67? And if it does, then I'm looking at 50% of previous week and heading up towards the top of the channel, which is going to be that 68, 69K area. So yeah, it's still early.
Mm-hmm.
Still early. Still have some time running into the end of the US. Let's see if the low can get put in going into Asia, and we'll see what happens there. But yeah, interesting
Yeah.
move so far though. Glad I took those short hedges.
Yeah. 65.9 is a level like the weekly daily open. That one.
Yeah.
Yep.
I want to
Yep.
see how the price is here. But I mean, this is just one of those dangerous looking patterns where, the kind of patterns that Bitcoin hasn't shown us since the good old short days when every day you just short and it was like, wow, big, big moves. And so it could be that. So we'll see. the topping pattern was beautiful though today.
Yes, that was
So
super
that was a
clean. Yeah,
very, very
even after it broke down, it gave a nice retest back up to like 67.8, 67.9, somewhere up there, and
hmm
plenty of opportunity to grab that one. Yeah, I didn't play on the initial
Yeah.
dump. I played on
hmm
that retest. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that one was definitely amazing.
Trader's
Yeah,
paradise the last 2 days, no?
it has been, yes. You know
It's
what's
yeah.
I hate US session. I don't usually take trades during the US session, and I ended up taking one. It was that clear. So
That's funny.
I do not like US session. It's choppy. It's like really they hit stops both ways. It's I don't like it, especially the first hour. If you could, and I used to actually like I would trade it when I was really young. You know, nowadays if I tried it would just give me a heart attack. So it's like, all right, I'm gonna stay out. I'm too old for this. Um, yeah. Let's see where this one goes. It's interesting. Um, well, yeah, we'll be coming back tomorrow and hopefully have some more trades set up. There is a chance we may not have a stream on Wednesday. Nat is out. I may be traveling as well, but we will be back definitely with FOMO
Friday.
Friday, and then make sure that you are following both Bits and Nat. Both of them, they do live streams. They do
Yep.
Spaces. Bits has his live streams pretty much every day, so make sure that you're following them. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you again.
See you guys.
See ya.